Howdy, all you delicious people. I am here today to cover more of my DC comic collection. I am to just thumb my way through my books and eventually find more of the DC books. And it seems that this one is to have more characters that are to probably be similar to what's kind of going on from the DC films. We have characters like Lobo, we have Metamorpho, we have stuff that is just kind of be very similar to what is kind of going on in DC in 2025 right now. So maybe this will go on and be fairly interesting for me to kind of thumb through and for me to showcase here. So, and then also for those of you that are probably going on and trying to find some interesting just Marvel books right now, this may go on and help you. So let's get into this. So first off, let's get into Swamp Thing number 0 from New 52. It was actually like, it was weird to see that Swamp Thing had antlers. So that was like the one kind of distracting thing where I was like, why does Swamp Thing have antlers on it? But I actually did start to read these books and I actually did find them interesting, or I did look online to see what was kind of going on with the series, and it actually was pretty interesting. So I'll give it that. Then we have Lobo from New 52, issue 1. I read this and basically they kind of took the Red Hood route to this character. Red Hood, when he started out, would be very comedic, very goofy. You kind of wouldn't expect what he would do next. And then eventually, like, the further and further after they kind of plucked him out of the Batman books and started to kind of give his own series and went on to eventually kind of through reboot of the character, eventually started to make him a lot more bland and not as like a jokester and everything like that he was before. And it kind of ruined the character in my mind. But like, Lobo is to kind of turn into this new character, and no one liked it, and so they immediately were to have gone on and realized what a mistake they made, and so they changed it back to the Lobo that everyone is much more familiar with and everyone is willing to read books of. Next up, we have Doom Patrol number 1. In all brutal honesty, I have a DC and Marvel encyclopedia, and I was scrolling through it one day and I'd found out about Negative Man, and I was like, okay, who is this Negative Man guy? Because it was kind of interesting how he was in like a mummy costume, and I would go on to find that he was in the Doom Patrol group, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I would go on to like retroactively find out that he's like, oh, okay, so he's in like Teen Titans, and I would find out that he's in like so many things, and eventually they went on to do the actual Doom Patrol live action show. I'm like, okay, cool, I can see this character on this show now. And then honestly, the way in the first season that they did the Doom Patrol, I was like, wow, like, this is actually really interesting. And then it kind of got really goofy and wacky, and like, I guess it really didn't care what it was doing. It just had to just continue to exist. And then I was like, okay, like, I can only tolerate the wacky so much. I can only tolerate like that this show is just getting a little just too stupid. But anyways, Dial H is issue number 0 from New 52. This character, Dial H for Zero, is to be a very interesting character. If you've never heard of it, I would recommend people to go on and check out more of Dial H for Zero, especially in the early runs. But then also, even in the more kind of current iteration of character, we would come to find that a person goes either into a phone booth or a person has this dial in hand, and they would dial the word hero, and any number of different heroes could be appearing here. Even at some point, Superman and Flash had gone on to become a person that the dialer transformed into, as well as any number of kind of randomly created heroes that eventually went into Dial for Hero. There's a bunch of weird, goofy, wacky ones that they eventually designed. So I thought that was just interesting and fun and cool. The Return of Dr. Fate, issue number 1. I was to want to go on and want to find a Dr. Fate book, and I felt like this was the only one that I could logically have found, and it had a number 1 on it, so that's where I went with. I always really enjoyed Dr. Fate in anything that I've gone on to see him in, with Smallville's and Young Justice, and also even like the DC Universe online video game. So really, whenever I was to go on, I'm like, okay, like I'm interested in Dr. Fate, but like he just doesn't really have much of a comic run. He just doesn't have much out there that I can kind of sink my teeth into. So hopefully people are to know a lot more about Dr. Fate, and can point me out books to check out, because I would definitely like to do that a lot more. Or find online somewhere if there is to be more, like maybe on YouTube, some people are reviewing it or talking about it or whatever, more about Dr. Fate, because I would go on and find that character really interesting. So, next up we have Grant Morrison's Final Crisis, number 1 of 7. The thing that I know most about Final Crisis is that Martian Manhunter, spoilers for Final Crisis, he was to have gotten killed off. So I specifically wanted to get Final Crisis because I knew that Martian Manhunter was going to get killed off. The only thing is, whenever you go on and you kill off a character in comic books, they never really stay dead. Like at some point, there is always going to be that rebooting phase, unless there is just a character that is just so of a certain specific time that there's no way to justify bringing it back ever. But then again, also with comic books, they just eventually just start really running out of ideas, so they just bring a character back anyways. Then we go on to the New 52's Earth 2, issue number 3. And obviously I just got this bad boy just because of Alan Scott's story, where it says, "And now the Green Lantern." So I obviously just got this because they were focusing on Alan Scott in this specific issue. So that was the only real importance of that. The Fury of Firestorm, the Nuclear Man. This is New 52. This is issue number 1. So, straight up, the only reason why I honestly got this comic book is because of the 3 different Firestorms on the cover. It's the only reason why I got this. Because feasibly, there's been so many times where Firestorm has consistently been so many different characters and so many different things that they've done and adjusted and what have you. Most of the time, none of them really ever work, but they all exist anyways. So, I don't know, it's just kind of fun to at least have some kind of Firestorm book. Presenting the Flash, this is issue number 1. It is quite interesting to see the Flash running alongside a bunch of Air Force jets and stuff like that. It's like, that's the, and plus also this being a number 1. Like it was kind of an obvious, like I had to check this out. Savage Showdown Flash. This is issue number 2. I absolutely love this whole like breaking of glass kind of thing on a cover. That just shows that there is just a lot of detail in here and so much just little tiny minute little things that they have to do. And like I love simple stuff like this because it just shows so much effort, I feel, in a cover. So yeah, I was easily won over by that. We have an annual number 2, an extra feature, Private Lives. This is to be another Flash book. I thought it was interesting how like the Flash is like underneath these bricks and how he has his hand out, and it just looked interesting to me. So that's why I was to get this book. It's the Killing versus Flash. This is issue number 3. So we had the Flash facing off against this robotish like thing. Just again, another like, what is this? What is going on here? And so I had to check this out. Down and Out Flash. This is issue number 20. Or Flash is just in these street clothes. Interesting bit of a cover here. Flash issue 21, Invasion, First Strike Extra, guest starring Manhunter. So, yeah, Manhunter. I don't know if it's Martian Manhunter, but if anything, yeah. There we go. We have Takeoff Flash issue number 24. This looks awesome. Absolutely an interesting looking cover. Let me get a little close up here, Mr. DeMille. All right. Man, it looks like I have a lot of Flash here. I didn't realize that. The Fastest Man Alive, Flash number 59. Big all romance issue. Yeah, I'm a romantic at heart. Alright, hopeless romantic, I guess. So I thought that this was interesting. The Fastest Man Alive, Flash number 60. Beware, the Last Resort. This cover just looked really just like a huge man and Flash, yeah. Plus also like he looked just like a shadowy figure. It just looked interesting to me. We have Nightwing and Starfire and the Flash. This is to be against the Combine. Whatever that means. Issue number 81. Kind of an interesting throwback Nightwing suit there. We have the Flash number 101, Fast Forward. And then we'll have a number, we'll have issue, The Flash, Mangled by Mongol. This is issue 102. I honestly like Mongol. The reason why I like Mongol is because of the Justice League episode of The Man Who Has Everything, where Mongol goes on and has Superman like be grabbed by this this flowery looking thing from outer space. And when he goes on and has this thing latch onto him, all of a sudden, Clark is now on Krypton. And he's like, what the heck happened? Like, what's going on? And Clark basically finds out that this is a Krypton where like Krypton never died. And so further and further, Clark is to have a wife, have a kid, and his mother and father and they're all still alive. So Clark goes on to further and further just like live this happy life. But the more he realizes how perfect it all is, the more he realizes that it isn't really real. To the point to where Clark is starting to, or Kal-El is starting to cry, and his son's confused and is like, "Why are you crying?" And Clark is like, "Well, I don't think that you're real." So yeah, and eventually, when Kal-El finally frees himself from that illusion and just starts beating into Mongol, he's like, "Man, you don't know how that was. Like, you don't know how hard that was for me. Like, it was like tearing off my arm." And whenever I'm to go on and have something that I feel is so strenuously difficult, like I'm reminded of Superman saying how he had to like rip off his own arm, and I immediately think to that. How it's like, yeah, I can get what he was saying there. So, next issue we have of Dead Heat, 2 of 6. This is Flash 109. So, I think we're going to get to some of the Flash covers that basically just have a lot of the other, like, Impulse and other kind of flashes on it. Like, I think this is to be the alternate Earth, like, Jay Quick or whatever the alternate Flash is, and then this is, like, Jay Garrett. But yeah, on the bottom there it says "left in the dust." This is to go on and be tomorrow's Flash today, issue 1112. I got this because of this was like a very unique Flash costume. Like this blue one here, like I was like, what is this character? Like I didn't care like if this was gonna be like a stupid Flash or not. I was just so taken by the blue and the colors, and I was just like, okay, who is this character? I just am not familiar with it. So that was just fascinating to me in a very simplistic way. We have a presidential race, part 1. Presidential race, that makes a lot of sense. We have the Flash issue number 120. This was so cool. Like, I thought that this was some interesting ideas here, and like Flash is going on and protecting the president, which we have to assume is probably Lex, because Lex is most of the time the president in the DC world. Most of the time. We then have featuring the Flash of Two Cities. Okay, so this is a homage to the iconic Jay Garrett and Flash cover. So this is to be the Flash number 123. Two Flashers are saying, "I'm coming," and a guy in the middle is saying, "Flash, help me." I had to get this cover. Because immediately when I knew how important it was to get this comic book, I had to also get this book as well. In the Flash show, they did replicate this exact cover, but it was like the Jay Garrett Flash thing. They replicated that in the show. So I absolutely loved that. We had the Flash 112. This is to be Mirror Man. Or Mirror Master. I don't remember exactly which. Kind of interesting cover there. Yeah, I would go on to see, I think, Mirror Master or Mirror Man in Justice League Doom, and to see him used there, I'm like, yeah. Like, I was so happy because that character, I think, is a lot more fun than so many others that were used in that film. So we have the Flash, the fastest man alive, that is to be outrun by the Griffin. So this is issue number 3. So if you were to go on and be a long time person of this channel, you would go on and probably understand why I specifically got this book. Because actually my last name was to actually be the same as this character, and it is to be spelled the exact same way as my actual name. So yeah, and eventually I just changed it on the channel because like I wanted something more poppy or more flashy or more like something that would draw attention more, and I think eventually whatever name it is now is to probably be there because I thought eventually it'd be more flashy and poppy and whatever. Like, I'm not going to say what the name is because more likely I'll probably change it again because I'm sure I probably will. I'll find some other poppy or flashy name to just put up on there. And like, I've gone so many different iterations of this name that I've had. And probably I'll change it a lot more. So whatever just kind of is to be the thing that will interest people, that's what I'll continue to go with. And maybe once I just finally get to a point of like, okay, like I don't have to have this weird goofy thing of I have to care about a name anymore, then maybe I'll just kind of go back to any number of reset of name, which I don't know, or maybe I'll just stick with whatever name will be the last one that kind of does the best. I have no idea. The Reverse Flash Rebirth, this is issue number 8, so this is to go on and focus on the Reverse Flash. This cover just looks so, just like the things that are in the background, and then you just have the Reverse Flash that is just running here. That's what really just popped for me. So this was just such an unusual cover. The Road to Flashpoint, issue number 10 of The Flash. Who is Hot Pursuit? Hot Pursuit. This goofy character on this bike was just like, what is this? Like, yeah. Impulse buy. How stupid was I? But I was just like, who is Hot Pursuit? I need to know more about this character. So we have The Road to Flashpoint, issue number 11 of The Flash. I got this because, man, was this creepy looking. We have a Flash who's in a skeleton, and like a bunch of the Flashes are all chasing after him. We have Kid Flash, we have Jay Garrett, and then we have, I think, the Barry Allen Flash, because I think this is I'm not sure. I am really not sure. Then we go on to finally do we have more Flashes? Okay, we're gonna finally get done with Flashes pretty soon, so that's good. Flashpoint number 1. I had gone on to watch the animated Flashpoint Paradox of this thing, and oh my god, yeah, like, because I had read some of the issues, and I'm like, oh my god, this story is amazing. And then I watched the Flashpoint Paradox, and I'm like, oh my god, this story is so interesting. Like, Thomas Wayne being brought in instead of Bruce, flipping a bunch of stuff, having Wonder Woman and Aquaman fighting a war. I was like, oh my god, this is so interesting. And also, like, Flash needing to get back his powers. And then when they, of course, go on and then they do Flashpoint in the movie, it's kind of weird and goofy and different. Yeah, it is what it is. But it's nowhere as good as the comic book version. But like, it does, like, the Flashpoint movie has its moments, but it's also to just be like, okay, we're basically redoing just Man of Steel, but we're doing it with just everyone except for Superman, because Supergirl is gonna have to face off against Zod and so on. Yeah. Spoilers for those you have yet to not have gone and seen the Flashpoint Flash movie, because immediately when I heard that there was gonna be a Flash movie, I'm like, okay, well, obviously it's just gonna be Flashpoint. No brainer. Like, we kind of all knew that there was gonna be a Flash movie and they were gonna do Flashpoint. Nothing else really matters. But also, like, when going on and starting off a Flash movie with Flashpoint, that immediately says, like, okay, so you're not really going to give a crap about this character. So he's not important enough to you to have him have his own solo movie. Like, you have to really mix him in with a number of other things, another number of elements, and basically say that you're restarting the DC universe anyways, so anything that you're gonna do in this movie doesn't really matter. So yeah, it's, I don't know. Flashpoint issue number 2, where yeah, he ends up getting hooked into the electric chair to get his powers back, and man, like, when I found out about this cover, I'm like, man, I really need this cover, because I had gone on to work in a haunted house thing once, and I was the guy that they put in an electric chair, and I was like having to shake and thrive and whatever all over the place. And eventually, the first night out, I got really sick from doing that. Just because there was like sounds and lights and stuff. There was like strobe lights, and it got me really sick. To where, like, I was just barfing at the end of the night for how, like, I was just in there for hours and hours, and yeah, I got really sick. So yeah, like, eventually when I went on and I went back in there, at some point I would go on to, like, have them give me like earplugs, to where I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, so it's kind of breaking down the noise so it doesn't hurt my ears as much. And that kind of, like, got me through the night, even though, like, kind of the strobing of lights did not help. Because, of course, like, I'm very more sensitive to light. And eventually, yeah, like, it gave me freaking headaches all the time. Because I'm like, yeah, this sucks. But okay, I'll keep doing this, because, like, no one wanted to do the electric chair thing. So they're like, okay, well, hey, can you kind of do this, like, basically every night? And I'm like, shit, like, okay, yeah, I'll do it, even though I didn't want to. But anyways. The New 52, The Flash, number 0. So I don't know why I have this so much later. I think really because, like, after Flashpoint, then it's basically like New 52 anyways. So that's probably why I had this so late. Then we have Speed Force issue number 1. The reason why I got this is because of the cover. Because basically it just shows off all these flashes, so I had to get it. It shows Max Mercury. It shows Jesse Quick. Oh yeah, Jesse Quick is to be the alternate Earth Flash. Then we have Jay Garrett, and then we have Mystery Flash. Ooh. So next up after that, we then have Superman and Batman Generations, an imaginary tale from 1939 to 1949. So I straight up just got this thing because of just the historical value of it, not because just thinking like, oh man, this is covering a huge history of these. No, I didn't care. Like, I was like, okay, I can read a lot of just like past books of these two characters. Like, sign me up. Like, heck yeah, was I gonna get this thing? I thought it was so interesting to see some like old fashioned Superman and Batman books, regardless of it just being a reprinting way of I didn't care. Like, I was like, man, this is really gonna be something unique here. So then we have Superman and Batman Generations and Imaginary Tale, book 2 of 4. This is from 1959 to 1969. So I thought it was interesting. Like, look at the Robin, and he has blonde hair. I'm so confused. We then also have Batmite and Mitsopitalik on the corner there. I say Mitsopitalik. I'm sure a lot of people say the name differently. I don't care. That name is so long and goofy. Whatever it sounds is whatever it sounds. I'm trying to think who is Superman being grabbed by, but I have no idea what that actually is. I can't really tell. It just looks like a big, massive hand that is grabbing him, and I have no idea what that's from. So, all right. Now we're going on and we're getting into Green Arrow books. So, when Arrow was on, I was like, okay, I want to go on and I want to find what are to be the most like highly regarded like Green Arrow books. And so eventually I was to go on and be just kind of showcase this. So I don't really know if these issues are really highly regarded, but like I just got them anyways. Maybe some of the issues did just kind of pop out to me and it's like, okay, maybe I'll just go with these. Plus also, yeah, like it honestly is kind of hard to really give a about Green Arrow books because you just never know. Like what value are they really going to have? Like if anything, the ones that of course I'm more treasuring of is really just the Green Arrow, Green Lantern books. So let's get into this. So Green Arrow number 14, I thought it was kind of interesting to have like a cat on the cover because at my house we've had quite a bit of cats. I've had one cat that has recently passed away, but yeah. Green Arrow number 15. This is kind of a interesting, just like, man, they must love birds and love animals, and they gotta put animals on these covers. Green Arrow number 29. Yet another animal on the cover. Little fox or whatever that is there. I'm assuming it's a fox. Green Arrow number 30. Again, another animal cover. Man, just can't stop the animals. Green Arrow number 42. This actually looks like a really cool backdrop here. Green Arrow number 46 with the rhino on the very bottom there. All right. Green Arrow number 49. Again, We can't stop the animal covers now, can we? The Archer's Quest, issue 6 of 6, number 21. This is Green Arrow, and on the cover here we have like Black Canary, we have Speedy, we have Red Arrow, all together. So this is why I just got this. Like, it wasn't because of like, oh, I think this might have some story significance. No, I just thought it was interesting. So maybe not all of those stories were to probably be highly popular or whatever. Maybe I just got hosed. I don't know. But either way, like, I was just want to just collect those early Green Arrow books, and so we have Straight Shooter issue 1 of 6 from Green Arrow. All right, we have a Flashpoint Hal Jordan issue 1 of 3. I thought that this was really interesting to see Hal Jordan have his own book. Like, how is that going to go on and be interesting enough? I don't know. I just thought that was so weird. We now have a reprint of a Vertigo title. This is to be a #1 issue special of John Constantine Hellblazer. What's next? Great graphic novels you should be reading. So I had to get me some Hellblazer because I thought that Constantine was interesting. I did like his show, regardless of how honestly cheap it was. I thought the Keanu Reeves movie was also really interesting. And so eventually later I had gone on to even watch the Constantine animated movie, and oh my god, was that so good. So good. If you haven't seen it, I've gone on to do a review of it, but I'm just saying right now, that thing is good. That's good. The chicken babies, it's good. But yeah, so the Constantine books are very interesting. I really do. I find them, especially in the early parts of the character, just so interesting. Then we have the John Constantine Hellblazer from Vertigo. I'm trying to look for a number here. I'm not finding it. I can't. Yeah. It says on the corner here, it says 222, but I do not know. So really, if this says somewhere anywhere, or if people know this cover, or eventually if people probably Google this image or something, they could probably find it and probably could tell me the issue number of this, because I do not know. I'd probably have to look inside the book to eventually find the novel number or the issue number, but I'm just trying to just show these bad boys off, and eventually, like, I'm trying to keep them as a collection. If eventually people wanted me to specifically review certain issues and then I would go on and definitely like pop these bad boys off, read them, and then review them, and kind of just do a video where I'm also just kind of thumbing through the pages, and that'll be in like the background of whatever video. Like, that's kind of what I plan if people did want me to go on and do like a comic book review. I am kind of worried about doing that because I would go on and see so many people that would have comic book reviews with the bubbles all missing. So I'm like, so if I just go on and thumb through the comic book pages, am I going to have a copyright thing done? Like, I'm kind of worried about that. That's probably why I don't go on and much thumb through these comic book pages, because I'm worried about some kind of copyright thing going on. I have no idea. Uh, I guess I would have to go on and see if people have gotten away with doing that for a long time, and see if I can get away with it too. So we have Identity Crisis number 1. I really enjoyed this story. Oh my god, was Identity Crisis so interesting, even though also it was so vicious compared to so many other DC stories that I've had read. Deadly Secrets, Private Hells, the comic event of the year begins here. Yeah. Identity Crisis was a story that you could just not just put down. So, but if anything, I would go on to find when eventually they would remake this story, the story was basically crap. Like, they're like, yeah, like, they basically just took the name and put it on a story that no one really cared about. And it was nowhere impactful as the original Identity Crisis. So, anyways, we have Identity Crisis Power Pact issue number 2. Yeah, so in this story, we would come to find that Dr. Light ends up going on to find one of the superheroes' wives, and Dr. Light just loses his mind just so badly that he goes on and he goes on to take advantage of this woman, let's just say. And some superhero groups go on to find Dr. Light to have done this. And so what they decide to do is they decide to wipe the minds of both Dr. Light and the girl who had this happen to, because, like, or otherwise, like, she would go crazed and she would be, like, severely damaged for the rest of her life. And so they thought that they could just wipe their minds and no one would be known the wiser of this event ever going on. But then eventually Batman comes in and they end up realizing, like, oh shoot, maybe we should probably go on and wipe Batman's mind too. But it's like, but he's such a detective, he'll go on and he'll figure out what happened. So yeah, so the story gets really interesting. Plus also, they go on and they take a picture of that specific Justice League, and then I think Superman goes on and says, like, no, we'll never go on and we'll never keep this picture, because, like, this is to be of a certain Justice League that, like, no one should ever know is actually to be, like, a certain team. Identity Crisis number 3. But let me know if I'm saying any of that story inaccurately, because I definitely want to get the story right. I think I'm kind of ballparkingly close, but, like, my memory of this book is a little faded, so correct me if there's any information that I got out of place there. Or whatever. Like, if you liked Identity Crisis, let me know in the comments below. If you hated Identity Crisis, let me know. Like, I want to be fair. Like, there's obviously gonna be certain people that absolutely hate certain books, and I completely understand that. Identity Crisis number 4. This is interesting because of the Wonder Woman cover, and it is we have the words of the truth on the cover here. Identity Crisis number 5 of 7. Yeah, Robin on the cover here. So yeah, so Identity Crisis was really dark and very gritty, and so Identity Crisis number 6, Dead End. Batman on the cover. And Identity Crisis number 7 of 7. Really cool looking cover. I honestly think I ended up getting Identity Crisis for this specific cover, and then I found out that it was like, this is to be issue number 7 of 7. I'm like, well, wait a minute. So I need to go on and I need to get this whole series. So eventually I would go on to find out that, like, that I can go on and just get the bundle of these books. So I did. And then I started reading the story. I'm like, wow, this story is like really dark and so interesting. And I was just like, man, like I'm definitely gonna read this whole series because of how just interesting it is. And like, yeah, there was parts about it that I didn't completely enjoy or like or whatever, but I just thought, I was like, man, they really went into this hard direction, and it just got me weirdly hooked. Because I was just like, okay, this is something unique I'm reading here. So I don't know, I just stuck to it, and I just thought it was worth it, or I liked it. So, regardless of how just strange that is. We have Infinite Crisis, issue number 2. Supergirl. This is to be, of course, when Supergirl had the white attire. Or maybe, no wait, maybe this is actually Power Girl. Yeah. Power Girl is here because she has like the gold thing on her. So this is Power Girl. If anything, in all honesty, like, saying this is Supergirl or Power Girl, they're kind of, at one point, isn't much of a difference, because at some point, Power Girl actually, I think, was a clone of Supergirl. So Supergirl, or it's the same freaking thing. It would be kind of interesting if in the Supergirl movie, if they did have Power Girl in that film. And I think there's a lot of people that are going on and starting to say that also, that are like, hey man, Power Girl needs to be in the Supergirl movie, because it would make a lot of sense for the characters to be involved. And it would be a cool surprise, rather than just having Lobo in that movie, to also have characters like Power Girl in it, for just the origins of the Power Girl character. But anyways, we have Infinite Crisis number 3. This is to kind of have some interesting bit of like costume here, especially Robin's costume, where it kind of feels like the 66 version of it. But yeah, this is to go on and just like just be such interesting covers. Infinite Crisis number 3 of 7. This is to have a lot of the women in this cover, and that's why I immediately gravitated to it. Because I like when they have just a Marvel cover, or Marvel, a comic book cover that just has a lot of women just slapped into it, because I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that tells me, like, one, who they're all focusing on, but, like, that's cool when they just have a slew of women just all in a book, because I'm like, okay, that kind of really changes it up. So I can be completely into a story like that. So I had gone on to specifically get interested in Infinity Crisis because of this cover. Because we have Superman that punches Superboy here, and in the background it has a sign of Welcome to Smallville, and Crypto is actually also involved in the cover. So I was like, heck yeah, I'm going on and I'm getting this. Like, this looks so cool. And eventually it got me to realize, like, okay, well, there's 7 issues of Infinite Crisis, so, like, I'll get the whole entire series just because of this cover. So that's what ended up happening. Unfortunately. So yeah, so definitely, like, when I would go on, and luckily to be able to get every single book of this most of the time, it's probably because I bought it online instead of going into a store and buying it. Yeah, it's probably more expensive that way, but there's definitely not enough comic book stores that are to be nearby me that have all of these good books, and them being cheap anyways. So I would have to go on and get them online, and they would probably cost like a little bit more, but at least I would go on and I would get a whole series of things. But anyways, I'm sure that's just not smart buying. But if anything, uh, like, for the longest time, there wasn't a lot of comic book stores nearby me. Now, it seems that there are to be a lot more comic book stores, even like right near my home. I can consistently, like, even walk to one comic book store and just siphon through the comic books if I really wanted to. And so I do have like a comic book store near my home that I can go on, and I could eventually purchase more comic books. Like, if I was to go on and want to decide to go back into just getting comic book stuff other than my collection, but also like, I do really want to still go on and collect certain comic book characters, but most of the time they're just not in a common comic book store. I have to really go on and I have to buy them online because that's all that they are available. So, but hopefully, also, like, I'll have the financial ability to be able to go on and do that a lot more, because that's all what it comes down to. Also, we have Final Crisis number 5. This one was really cool because it had Booster Gold, it had Blue Beetle, and Blue Beetle, and it had Batman. And then we go into Infinite Crisis issue number 6. This was a really cool cover. Oh yeah, also, I'm sure what a lot of people could probably go on and say, it's like, well, hey, like, why don't you go on and just kind of sell some of your collection off, and then just kind of get other new things. Like, I have actually gone on and actually done that. I have done that. So, so for anybody to go on and say, it's like, well, yeah, like, why don't you just sell a lot of your collection off and just get new stuff? Like, I've definitely done that. Like, I've gone on and I've sold some old Pokemon cards that I had, and then eventually, like, I spent that money on getting finally some new. Technically, I spent it to get new weightlifting equipment. But technically, I also got that for Christmas. So yeah, I kind of spent most of that on just kind of bills and stuff like that. So because I have those. Infinite Crisis number 7. I absolutely love this because, like, there's just superheroes and villains just freaking everywhere. There's the Daily Planet, like, right there. Daily Planet. So yeah, like, this cover was freaking crazy. And if you know me, like, I love just the huge collage of just so many superheroes just everywhere on a cover. Because you would go on to see so many times when I would just straight up say, it's like, yeah, I just got this issue, just because there was just a lot of all over the place, and I just like that effort. I just like that detail. But anyways, so this is to go on and be Justice God Among Us issue number 1. So yeah, like, I had gotten this variation of it because, in all honesty, this book was pretty expensive. Because everybody and their brother was trying to get their hands on this book because this book was really good when it started out. So this is the only way I could go on and get Justice God Among Us, or Injustice God Among Us, issue number 1, and not have to get some kind of third to second to whatever printing up. Yeah. And not have to pay an arm and a leg. So yeah, so I got this thing of it, and I was like, okay, that's fine. So I got this. I in the early stages of this, I was so in. I was like, man, Superman kills the Joker, and Superman ends up turning evil. Heck yeah, I'm in this story. Like how Batman had to fight against Superman in this, and it like people started to have to choose sides between either Batman or Superman. Who are they going with? And like it was so fascinating in the early rungs of this. And then once it started to get to where they were bringing in all like the supernatural characters like Detective Chimp, that's when I really started to fall off. Like at that point, like there was just these big huge battles that were these like these 2-page cover things, whereas like Mitsopitalik was fighting against Dr. Fate, and it was just like, okay, like this is very 50-50 booking, and this story is just continuing to just go nowhere. And it was really interesting how they killed off Dick Grayson's Nightwing, and then is it Tim Drake? Tim Drake goes on and becomes like the new Nightwing. And yeah, so that story was really interesting. And I really like, I was like, just this story. Injustice God Among Us, issue number 2. Yet again, another white and black cover. Cause yeah, like this was just the easiest way I could get these. I would have loved the color ones, but I got this one instead. Injustice God Among Us, issue number 3. Yeah, I do have quite a bit of these, so I'm sorry. We're gonna be here for a little while, but if anything, if you guys loved Justice God Among Us, then maybe you can relate how you really liked this story. Or maybe some people hated this story because, like, no, I hated that Superman was turned evil, because maybe people are to be like Bruce Timm, and they always liked like Superman to be like this pure good guy and like the Boy Scout, and that's always what they think of Superman. And that's okay, because yeah, like all characters have to go on and have their different flows, and this is Injustice number 4, where they go on and they make their way to Atlantis, and they take Atlantis and they rip it from the ground. Oh my god, was that awesome. Because Aquaman was not going to go on and give in, because he was basically like, hey man, I'm Switzerland in this whole thing. And then they rip out Atlantis from the underwater, and then Aquaman's like, okay, I'm sorry. like okay, like I'll work with you. Like, please, like, give me back Atlantis. Injustice God Among Us, number 5. Injustice God Among Us, number 6. I think this is the issue where they do go on and they do kill Dick Grayson's Nightwing. Spoilers for anybody that hasn't gone on to read this. It's been out for a while now. And that's why Catwoman is hugging onto Batman because Nightwing dies. So at one point, Nightwing's back is turned, and Tim Drake goes on and he takes this stick and he throws it at Nightwing. And Nightwing is so used to knowing that Tim is going to make that pull, and so Tim assumes that Dick is going to catch it like he did before, but this time around, Dick doesn't catch it. He gets hit in the head and he gets killed. And Tim was just distraught because like, oh my god, like I had gone on to make that throw I don't know how many countless times, and Dick always catched it, but this time he didn't. So that just led to his death. Inner Turmoil. This would be Injustice God Among Us number 7. Then we have Injustice God Among Us issue number 8. Superman's greatest ally is none other than Lex Luthor. Fire and Ash. I think roughly around 8 or 9, because eventually this will start off at JLA. But I think I do have more Injustice God Among Us somewhere. I'm sure probably in my random comic collection. I'm sure there's probably more Injustice somewhere, because I think I have at least 9 or 10 somewhere in there. But yeah, that's where I started to really fall off with this story, because eventually it just kind of jumped to like, okay, well, we have had all of the heroes fight against all the other heroes, so now we're just going to go on and just jump to this now part of the story, and we're just going to do this now. I'm like, what? Like, I don't know, like, it just seemed very weird how it just felt like the story was now just jumping to whatever story that they just wanted, and just it kind of ruined the book, and it just made it disinteresting. Plus, they're doing all these spin-offs with this thing because they knew how successful it was. So, anyways, we have a JLA showcasing an 80-page giant. This is to be a magical mystery, a harrowing history, and a triumphant bit of team-ups here. So, this is to be a JLA showcase issue number 1. I got this because it had Captain Atom on it. It had Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern on the more higher top there. Then there's Flash, there's Black Canary, and it looks like there's Steel and there's Aquaman on the bottom corner there. If you guys don't know who Steel is, that is to basically be Shaquille O'Neal. No, actually, it is Shaquille O'Neal. But if anything, it's to be Irons, the guy that is eventually to have been used on the more current Superman and Lois series. The show that was on the CW. But yeah, like, he's basically... on the show, he's basically like an Iron Man-like character. That's basically what they make him out to be, but in the comic books, he's a lot more interesting. So now we have and I got this specific book, and I'm like, man, this is so stupid, but I'll get it anyways. This is to be JLA issue number 3. This is to be Guerrilla Warfare. So I got it because of all the Justice League members turning into apes in this book. It was stupid. Like, Gorilla Grodd kind of does this consistently, and it's just stupid. At one point, I had gone on to eventually have my mom just gave me this comic book of a Superman book that had like these ape things on it. or these gorillas on it or something. And I'm like, because she had no idea really what to get me. So I told her, I'm like, yeah, I don't like, yeah, I have action comic books, or yeah, I have very specific Superman issues. You'll find out even in this, when I thumb through some stuff, I will have some Superman things. But like, it's very key issues. There's very key Superman things. Or there's just comic book covers that really stick out to me, so I get them. Because of their stupid, goofy, or unique stories. But I don't go out of my way to collect a lot of Superman either, because most of the time he's just not my bag. Most of the time, it has to be if the Superman story is actually really good, and then I'm interested. But no offense to those of you that go on and you like Superman. And also you like the more current film, which I thumbs up that bad boy. I would say that it's good. I liked it. The Unlimited Justice League epic begins. We have Rock of Ages, part 1 of 6. This is JLA. So, a lot of interesting characters here. We have the unique the unique Superman that everyone, I'm sure, just is like, what is that? Whenever they find this unique Superman, they're like, what is this? What weird thing were they doing with Superman during that time? And yeah, it's really interesting to see the weird, goofy colored suited Superman. Also, it's kind of interesting to just see these characters. So I admittedly had to get this book just because it was such an interesting story. Where are we? I accidentally lost my place. Accidentally. There we go. I got it back. This is to be Justice League America JLA. This is issue number 27. So I got this because obviously Amazo. Amazo just decimating the Justice League. Oh man, I'll read the bubbles in a second here. Amazo goes on and like, I've just beaten the world's greatest superheroes. And how are you going to stop me? Amazo is freaking dope. Amazo is awesome. I don't care if people feel that he's just kind of like the character that they just need whenever there's like a team up thing, or whenever there's like when they run out of things to do with the team, they just go with the Amazo because it's easy. Like, no. Amazo is just a lot of fun. I always try to go on and I try to find issues that have Amazo in it. Plus, also, I absolutely loved when Young Justice brought in Amazo. I'm like, God, this is gonna be a good episode of Young Justice, and it didn't disappoint. The Greatest Heroes of Our Time. This is to be JLA issue number 30. This is to be Crisis times 5, part 3 of 4. And this is to kind of bring back Justice Society of America, or to have characters that are to be from most of Justice Society of America. We have the Spectre, we have we have the boxer. I forget what his name is. Wildcat. Correct me in the comments below. We have the Alan Scott Green Lantern. We have Jay Garrett. We have Wonder Woman. And then whoever this guy is on the very bottom, I have no idea who he is. So you guys can let me know in the comments below who that guy is if you know him. I'm sure everybody does. I'm sure he's the guy that everybody the guy everyone knows. Whatever. I'm just joking around here. Uh, the world's mightiest heroes, JLA. This is issue number 42. I thought that this cover was cool. Superman, Ant-Man, and Kyle Rayner just on somebody's thumb. That was like a really unique cover that I was like, ooh, like this is cool. I don't care if it's one of those shrinking comic book issues, and a lot of those are just kind of stupid. But, anyways, a dangerous new direction. JLA issue 43. Ooh, we're getting into Tower of Babel, y'all. We're getting into part 1 of 4. Tower of Babel is the greatest Justice League period story. And people will probably say that that's debatable. I don't give a flub. I don't care. Tower of Babel, yeah, they went on to make Justice League Doom because of this story, and oh my god, was it good. Tower of Babel was so interesting, and then Justice League Doom did it of course quite a bit differently. But yeah, and I have duplicates of this because of course I do. Plus also this is a good freaking story anyways, so I'm happy to get duplicates. I wish I could have gotten more than just 2 of them for how good this is. JLA issue number 44. This is to be Tower of Babel part 2 of 4. This cover is just beautiful. Batman going on and pulling the strings of the Justice League. Isn't that kind of what he does anyways? So, we come to find, I think, in this story where Batman ends up turning evil and going against the Justice League. And then we find out that Batman has a contingency plan against the whole Justice League. And he goes on to seek it out here. We'll find out that, like, red kryptonite has this kind of unique thing that affects Superman. And there's so many times where red kryptonite does so many different things. Like, if you watch Smallville, like, red kryptonite just goes on and makes Superman, or in this case, just Clark Kent, a more confident guy and is to be much more of this, like, kind of jerk, or is to not go on and be as good of a good guy as he would go on to be. Like, eventually in the show, he would, like, rob banks and do all this stuff just to kind of fund himself to be able to keep getting away from his parents. And so, red kryptonite in Tower of Babel would go on and affect, like, Superman's like body or something like it. Like, yeah, like, if anything, like, the red kryptonite in Power of Babel, like, was weird and just didn't make sense to me. So, but if any, yeah, this story, yeah, it was to have gone on and been rather interesting. Tower of Babel part 3 of 4. This is the issue number 45. So, we'd come to find out that all the Justice League are not speaking English. They're speaking gibberish. Of like, wait a minute, did I get a cover that had like a typo? Like, was this a thing in different language? And then I would go on to find out in the issue, there's a reason why everyone is speaking in gibberish. And I was like, oh, okay. So the book is fine. Uh, it's just the story ends up tying into why these characters are all speaking gibberish. And of course, we'd find out that Wonder Woman has to go on and just fight for her life here, uh, or fight till her heart gives out. And that was to be the contingency plan for Wonder Woman. JLA issue number 46, this would be Tower of Babel, the conclusion. Eventually, where they go on and eventually kick Batman out of the Justice League. When eventually he no longer becomes evil. They decided to complete, because Batman was kind of like this in and out kind of Justice League member anyways, and once they all realized that he had contingency plans on him, they decided like, well, hey, maybe we should probably boot him out of the Justice League. And Batman goes on to say, it's like, well, hey, if you guys really need to go on and you really need to like back and forth about this, like, the answer is clear, and Batman just leaves and decides to do like, hey man, I don't need you people, like, so I'm gonna freaking bounce. Later, deuces. And so I'm like, god dang, Batman is just so awesome. So we then go on and have JLA issue number 47. Once upon a time, a lovely prince and her brave knights set out on a dangerous journey. So, after Tower of Babel, I just wanted to see what was going on in JLA, and we just got this. So, eventually I fell off kind of after that, because I'm like, man, Tower of Babel was so sweet, and then they went on to give me all this other bullshit. Like, no. JLA issue number 50. This is to be a 48 pager. This is to be Cataclysm 7 divided by 11. Alright. Yeah. I'm really trying to push on here because I'm almost a third of the way of this thing here, and we're already past the hour minute here. I'm sorry, I gabbed for too long. I've gabbled. I've talked for too much. The World's Greatest Superheroes, JLA issue number 52. This cover was really cool looking. I'll back up a little bit here. I'm probably gonna sneeze here in a second. Excuse me. World's Newest Superheroes, JLA issue number 53. This just looked really interesting. Unique bit of costumes here. Kyle Rayner, Martian Manhunter, a different looking Flash. Just a change up of costumes here. I was like, okay, let's see what's going on here. Let's see how you can clickbait me back into JLA. Because you're doing a good enough job of it. The World's Greatest Superheroes, JLA number 77. Amnesia. Amnesia. I honestly got this because of the Atom, because like eventually I wanted to go on and I wanted to get more Atom stuff. Because I think there could have been some issues that were interesting enough to garner my attention. So I got this just to keep trying to see if there could be anything of value of the Atom. And I also had gotten that that Atom issue. So this is to be a, it says high grade. Woo! JLA versus the Crime Syndicate of America, issue 108, Justice League of America, it says on the top there. It ends here, the beginning. So, if you guys had ever gone on to see the animated movie Justice League Crisis on Two Earths, you'll know these characters very well. Power Ring, Ultraman, Owlman, and Superior Woman, I believe. And then we have like J Quick or Quick. Interesting. Like, I definitely wanted to get this book because I think this was the very first appearance of the crime syndicate. Eventually, it's really interesting to see like alternate worlds of a Justice League. Like, eventually in the Justice League show, there's like the Justice Lords, where eventually the Flash in their world ends up getting killed, and then they just become the Justice Lords. And I thought that was kind of just a unique episode of Justice League. So I wanted to try to find out where there is to be any different alternative versions of Justice League, and then I found the Crime Syndicate. Justice League of America, JLA, issue 109. Syndicate rules. So, really wanted to go on and find any of the Syndicate comic books, because, yeah, like, after watching Crisis on Two Earths, and I was like, just really good characters. Infinite Crisis is here, JLA issue 119. A League No More. So, this ties into Identity Crisis, or I'm sorry, Infinite Crisis. My bad. So, I'd already gone on and had Infinite Crisis in the early parts of here, but I guess this is to be the prequel to that, so my bad. I just got things out of order because I just was like, hey, I didn't think that there'd be any books that were tying into this, so plus I don't really think it mattered. Justice League of America, JLA. This is to be issue number 13. This is to be called Classified. Into the Pits of Hell. I got this because there's a Green Lantern on the cover, so I was just like clickbaited into it basically. So, and I thought the whole classified thing, I was like, okay, this is interesting. Why does it say classified on this? So now I have gotten a reprint of Justice League of America issue number 28. And I, of course, got it because, like, this, when you look at Justice League of America covers, like, this one is to be, I think, the most iconic one. Plus, also, this is to be the first ever appearance of Starro. And also, when looking at, like, when eventually you see so many of DC stuff, eventually Starro comes up so freaking often. And, like, whenever I'd go on to just kind of randomly just find some DC animated movie, I would come to find that the villain would be Starro. I'm like, of course it's Starro, because it's always freaking Starro. And I'd eventually get so freaking, yeah, like, it got so annoying. And most of the time, whenever they would go on to a big season finale of some kind of DC show, eventually the big bad villain, guess who? Starro. Just like, oh my god, like, yeah, like, it just got to the point I'm like, can they do any other character, please? Like, could we just go on and could we just change it up just a smidge bit? Like, that's basically like every single Batman story, and it would all go right back to Joker, and I would make that thing known of just like, man, like, can't they just go, like, Batman has such a huge rogues gallery, like, how about we go on and just have it just turn to anybody but the Joker? And it'd be kind of cool, like the Long Halloween, we'd find out that it would be like a Toothpaste story. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, they would try to go on and go into other directions besides Joker. I'm like, oh, thank God. Under the Red Hood, yeah, like, Joker is there, but it's more so focused on the Red Hood. So, Anyways, we have another free comic book day. Justice League of America issue number 0. Like I just straight up got this just because it was in issue 0. And I thought that the cover was interesting because it had Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman on it. And if you guys do not know, in every single issue 0 of New 52, these 3 characters would be in every single issue. And that's why I got this cover. Because, like, man, I am just so sick of seeing Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman in every 0 issue. So I got this one because it's a joke. Because I got it as a joke. So on the bottom there, it says, who's in? They're all in. Every single issue 0 of New 52. So that's why I got this. I got it as a joke. So, because I was specifically hunting down this exact book, just because of how annoyed I was with them being in every single New 52 0 issue. So we now have Justice League of America. This is issue number 3 of 2006. And this is Tornado Outbreak. This cover. Red tornado and like just so many just different tornadoes with all these different colors all in the background. Red Tornado, of course, is an android. He's a robot, so yeah, it would make a lot of sense that eventually Red Tornado would go on to eventually have this, like, army of Red Tornadoes, because, like, yeah, like, how many times has Red Tornado been several different variations? So yeah, it makes all the sense. Justice League America, or Justice League of America, issue number 5. I straight up just got this because, again, this is another, like, villain that goes on and just takes out the entire Justice League, as well as also, it's freaking Solomon Grundy. I loved me some Solomon Grundy. When seeing him in the Justice League show, and seeing that he was kind of like a Hulk character, but he was, like, really dumb, because of course he was. But then eventually I would start to see him in other different variations, and looking very differently put together, and I'm like, all right, like, I can get behind this Solomon Grundy more so. But yeah, but I obviously got this because of the cover. Like, to see Solomon Grundy taking out the whole Justice League, I was like, heck yeah. Take out that Justice League. Yeah. So this is to have me needing to get 2 different books. So this is to be Justice League of America issue number 7, and so I guess there's to be a variant of this. So here's to be this, and also there is to be this, and these are both issue number 7, but you kind of have to get both printings, so that way you can get the kind of the technical, like, hey, yeah, I definitely wanted to go on. I definitely wanted to get the wrapper onto this, or I definitely wanted to go on, and I wanted to get the whole thing of this. So I kind of felt forced into getting this. Also, I think I may need to go on and oops. Okay, thank God. I was like I was scared there for a minute there, because I was like, wait a minute, like, are there comic books off this side here? And there technically is, but they're really tiny ones, that don't really have much of significance. We have these tiny books here. I don't know why I have them, but I do. They're still in the plastic wrap, so I kept them in the case. And I have multiples of them. I don't know why I have these. Yeah, this is the... Yeah, they were stuck like on the side of the box, so I sifted them out. This is like 5 of 9. This is this one is 7 of 9, and this one is 6 of. This says 6 of 8. So, so yeah, I guess I was never destined to complete whatever goofy set of these things were, and I didn't ever plan on finding these, collecting this. Yeah, like I don't think that these probably have any kind of value. If I'm wrong, then I'd be like, okay, like if those things have a good chunk of value, I'd be happy to sell those off. Like I don't know why I just have those. I think my mama ended up just kind of giving me those, and I'm like, I don't want this. They're not actual comic books; they're really smaller ones. And if anything, I never thought to like open them and read. No, I was like, I'll just keep it in the plastic wrap forever. Maybe I'll have a more mitten box kind of value if I was given those. So now we're on to the New 52 Justice League issue number 0 that focused on Shazam when eventually they rebooted him. When after like I was to go on and see the Justice League animated movies that were having Shazam within the Justice League, I honestly wanted to go on and collect a lot more of Shazam. But they were really going on and doing much with Shazam during this time period. It took them a very long time to actually get a solo Shazam book going. So, like, the only way you can go on and get anything with Shazam is to have actually just read the Justice League stuff, and I was kind of disappointed. Like, but it did get me kind of interested in Shazam, but like Shazam kind of was a hard sell character. But I was always kind of interested to find out or figure out what could have been Shazam's more kind of like go-to or key issues that people liked the most. So this is Justice League number 1. I read this story and I was so blown away. I absolutely loved this comic book. When New 52 came out and I started reading this, I'm like, oh my god, this was peak how I ever wanted Justice League to be. And yeah, I probably thought that Cyborg was kind of a stupid idea because I never liked Cyborg being in the Justice League, but how they used him in these early stages of Justice League, I'm like, okay, I'm won over. I'm loving Cyborg, because if anything, the only thing that I remembered about Cyborg is just the booyah, booyah, whatever, in Teen Titans, and it got really old, really effing fast, and like basically, like Cyborg just became the Iron Man of that group. Yeah, and basically, like, it was a character that out of the like the Teen Titans, I'm like, I don't really like this character at all. Like, yeah, it was interesting when they gave him a solo episode here or there, but like, I think I cared for him like the least, and that's even like looking at even Beast Boy, where Beast Boy was just like, okay, but anything. New 52's Justice League number 2. Let me know in the comments below how you felt about New 52's Superman. Were you happy that they killed him off? Because that's what happened with him. did you like what they were doing with Superman in the early New 52? Or like, I like the fact that they kind of put him with Wonder Woman at first, and then they realized no, everybody just loves Superman with Lois Lane, and so that's kind of where they eventually changed. Justice League number 3. I actually thought it was an interesting idea to lump in Superman with Wonder Woman at first, because it really did finally change things. Because plus it just made a lot of sense. Like, the two of them have a very similar power set, and so I just liked that idea. Plus also, I think it would have been cool if possibly if Lois Lane and Batman could have ended up together, because they're reporters, like, they're both humans. Would have made a lot of sense. New 52's Justice League issue number 12. Aquaman takes charge. Aquaman of all people, right? But then eventually, when they did Justice League, I was like, okay, Aquaman is actually cool again. And then they ruined him. They eventually ruined him. Justice League issue number 12. Again, they did the thing. They had Wonder Woman and Superman together. I was like, this is great. This is great. It's unique. Will Green Arrow join the Justice League? Issue number 8 of New 52. Excuse me. Continuing in this issue, Shazam. So yeah, so evidently they didn't really give much of a care to Green Arrow, because like, yeah, like, he's just gonna be in some other book instead of this one. So then we have Forever Evil. Forever Evil Justice League issue number 24. And this is again to bring back that crime syndicate. We gotta keep going back to that same well. Because I like them. I also did go on and check out Forever Evil. And I was like, man, like, this is kind of hard to mow over. But I like the whole idea, though. I really did like how they were going on and wanting to focus more so on the villains, finally, than just focus on the heroes. Because I'm like, all right, like, you're giving the villains some time to shine. Like, I liked that whole idea where they were going on and be like, no, we're going to go on and finally have, like, Joker have his cover issue. We're going to go on and, like, give Parasite and all these kind of rogues gallery characters, we're going to give them these one-shot things and see what really sells, and maybe we'll run with more of those issues, or we'll just realize that we can go on and make certain hero issues that focus on more of these certain characters within the rogues gallery, because these books sell more. This is be Justice League issue number 0. I actually did really enjoy Justice League Dark. Like, as an idea, I'm like, oh my god, this is like a thing that I didn't know I wanted, and I absolutely loved it. And then, of course, the Justice League Dark had eventually villains in it, and it kind of it went downhill from there. Like, on paper, yeah, this Justice League, it sounded cool, but then you would find out that, like, okay, like, the villains that they're going against is, like, Enchantress, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But if anything, this would be Volume 1, In the Dark. So I got the first volume of Justice League Dark. So, yeah, I was like, I am sold. Like, you even had Batman come into Justice League Dark. So, Batman was also on the regular Justice League, but then also he was in Justice League Dark. So, man, they're having Batman and frickin' everything. like especially when you go on and you check out the Justice League Dark animated movie. Guess who's in it? Of course, it's Batman. At least he's not the focus, thank God. So, like, I was happy with that. So we have Justice League Europe. I know a lot of people will grow and it's like, dude, you really collected all the offshoot Justice League stuff? Yeah, because you end up getting characters like Metamorpho in it, and these issues are actually pretty interesting, I feel. Like, I liked the unique teams like the Outsiders, and there were so many teams that I think are just so underrated. Like, some of the Nightwing teams that were to go on and not be Teen Titans were actually pretty interesting when they did them, which I think is mostly just the Outsiders, but anyways. So I found out that there was actually some just Martian Manhunter books, and I'm like, I need to collect these. So I found issue number 3, and I'm like, and there's 3 of, or there's 8 issues here. So this is a very short run issue of this thing. But I'm like, wow, like yeah, like evidently Martian Manhunter was so good that they decided to just do this whole run for this character, and I was interested because of them. And this is issue number 4. Where he's doing the Neo thing. He's stopping the bullets. Which, in all honesty, Martian Manhunter is such a powerful character. It makes a lot of sense for them to go on and have him with his own issue. We have a Lobo Christmas special. So, I do actually have, besides the New 52, I do actually have another Lobo book. I, at some point, was going on and just trying to find the most, like, either key or the most interesting Lobo books, and I just really had a problem trying to find which ones were to be the most interesting. Plus, also, every time I would go on and search for Lobo books, all I would find is just stuff like this, or just stuff like the New 52 run, and, like, that's it. Like, it just didn't seem like Lobo was such an easy thing to really find, or for when I would find things, like, I would not give a about anything that would be put in front of me to just like, okay. So, if those of you who are Lobo fans, maybe go on in the comments below and just drop some recommendations of some good Lobo stories. I think I'd gone on to watch Gotham and Glam, and she had mentioned a story where Lobo was in called I Quit, and she said that was a pretty good story, so maybe I should look into that also. This is to be a special collector's edition of Man of Steel issue number 1. So of course, around the time that Man of Steel was a thing, like, I already had these issues started, so eventually, when the Henry Cavill thing was to have kind of fired off, like, I was to kind of be interested in this story. I think my dad has more issues of Man of Steel than I do, so eventually that's probably why I didn't get as many here, because I just jumped right into Superman Man of Steel issue number 7. Superman Man of Steel 0 Hour issue number 37, and I obviously did this because of it being just so heavily having so many different Batmans on the cover here. So yeah, so I obviously am like, why is there so many Batmans in this cover? So I had to get this book just because of that. Now, of course, for how I mentioned how I liked the Nightwing team, the Outsiders, I was to, of course, liked the Superman movie, and there was one character that I thought was kind of disappointing in the Superman movie, and that ended up being Metamorpho. Yeah, I definitely had gotten Metamorpho issue 1 well before the superhero movie, or the Superman movie, because really I liked Metamorpho. Metamorpho was such an interesting character, and also, like, Metamorpho could go on and use gases, which I'm like, wow, that's unique. Eventually, from time to time, Metamorpho would eventually sometimes be a bad guy and face off against characters like Batman. I think, yeah, I want to say it's like Batman. And it would be really interesting to see, like, a very powerful character like this be taken down by characters like Batman, of all things. But yeah, like, Batman goes on frickin' beats everybody. So I'm not surprised when, like, it would honestly be so interesting if they just had a Batman series where Batman would just go on and just try to take out every single, like, hero, villain, everybody in between, just all the DC universe, and just take them all out. Not absolutely kill them, but basically, like, neutralize every single one of them. And, like, I would definitely go on and watch that. Like, there obviously is, like, Brave and the Bold, where, like, Batman kind of works alongside a lot of people, instead of working against them. So there is that, but, like, maybe at some point I may have to go on and kind of check into Batman the Animated Series, because eventually, like, there's a lot of stuff that I stopped watching at a certain point. I think that's when they started to do the whole, like, Batman and Robin thing. Like, I think that's kind of where I started to just kind of jump off. Where they kind of change it to Batman and Robin the Animated Series, I think that's when I started to just kind of fade. Metamorpho number 2, Out of the Past. All right. We have Martian Manhunter from the pages of Brave New World, issue 1 of 8. So maybe this is from that other run there that I just kind of misplaced the, more than likely. Oh well. Then we have a free comic book day, the New 52, issue number 1, whatever that means. So it has Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman on this cover here. So I had to get that. 'Cause of course I did. So, if anything, the one kind of disappointing thing that I wish I would have had in this collection, because I actually really liked this villain character. There is a comic book out there called Anarchy, that was in the Batman. Comic books. It was also in the Batman game, and I really wanted to go on and know more about him. And I found out that he had, like, this solo book, and maybe at some point I'll go on and I'll maybe, because, like, Temu does eventually have comic books, so I hope to one day be able to kind of go through Temu and be able to get comic books, so I can kind of get some more collection of stuff. It'll take a long time, but eventually I'll get there. And I think they do have the Anarchy books, so maybe I'll start to collect some of those. So this is to be a Nightwing, the very first solo series debut, one of 4. So yeah, so I was like, yeah, if this be the first ever appearance of Nightwing in his own solo book, heck yeah, I'm getting this. I was to go on and be so tempted to get so much Nightwing, but then eventually, like, I would find out that my dad would go on to collect a lot of Nightwing, so I'm like, okay, I don't think I need to collect that much anymore. So, issue number 4 of Nightwing. But yeah, Nightwing and the New 52. Yeah, I went on and I read that. Really good stuff. Really enjoyable. Nightwing number 25. More than likely, I'm going to go on and probably have Nightwing on the thumbnail, because for some odd reason, I think a lot of people weirdly collect Nightwing, or a lot of people like Nightwing. I don't know what it is. The Brave New Era for Nightwing, issue number 41. This is to be Nightwing spelled differently, issue number 42. Kind of an interesting character here. Obviously, I had to get this because it was fairly unique. Nightwing issue number 47. I felt kind of clickbaited into this cover because it had Oracle and... Anyways. Extra size issue. Nightwing number 50. And it seems that I have more than one of these. Because of course I do. It's issue 50. You gotta go on and you gotta get duplicates. So yeah, so I have more than one of these. Because of course I do. We have a Officer Down, issue number 5 of Nightwing. Issue number 53. I don't think you can really make out, because there's a lot of blue here. But it is, like, it was a really interesting cover because of how that kind of blends in. Nightwing, issue number 57. This is to be Bound. Is this kind of, reminding us of Superman Unbound? I don't know what it is with Superman. He has to go on and have so many kind of covers where he's like breaking chains. Like that seems to be a recurring thing for Superman. I don't know why Superman has to go on and break chains off of his body. I don't know what it is, but that's just a weird thing of his. I think in like Action Comics number 900 or something like that, like that is to be like the goofy cover. Then we have Nightwing number 60 here. And he's kind of doing the Batman thing where he's on the statue and like, ooh, now I have to go on and I have to get from these collections. Let me actually pause here because I'm going to go on and I want to fix this box because it's kind of a little bit like the books are kind of sticking out. So let me pause this here so I can set up this box in more perfect manner. Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to go on and I had to just fix this box because it was bugging me. So I go on and just kind of straighten up the box. And so now we get to Nightwing issue 63, where it says, where the heck is Nightwing? We have Blue Beetle and we have a Robin facing off here. So this book was just kind of interesting just because of the mystery of it all. We have Bruce Wayne Murdered, Part 3. This is to be Nightwing number 65. Probably should have gotten these whole Bruce Wayne murder things in order, but this is the only one I seem to have gotten. So Bruce Wayne Fugitive Part 6. This is to be Nightwing number 68. The whole thing of this cover was just so unique. I was like, what is this? I don't know, I'm a sucker for just kind of interesting looking designs. Bruce Wayne Fugitive Part 9. This is to be Nightwing number 69. 69. Yeah. This is to be Nightwing number 70. Welcome to the desert something. We get an interesting female character on the cover here. I'll kind of get a little bit closer here so you can kind of see a little bit maybe of the little bit more detail of this cover. All right. Probably should have been doing that all along, but oh I'm sorry. Nightwing, this is issue number 65. It's a nice day to start again. I'm not quite sure who this girl in the orange is, so people may have to go on and explain who this person is to me, because I'm not familiar. If anything, like when I look at this person, like I'm reminded of the twin characters called Double Dare. Like that's immediately what pops into my brain. Because in the Robin issues, there were these twins called Double Dare, and I thought they were actually cool. And then I would find out in I think Batman Beyond, or just in the future of DC, there are these twins and they call themselves Dee Dee, and I'm like, okay, is that some reference to Double Dare? Like, and I think they were used in like Batman Beyond, but anyways. Guest starring Deadman. This is to be Nightwing Year 1, Part 3 of 6. So I got this because, of course, Deadman was in this. But it was also kind of interesting that Nightwing had a Year 1 also. I was like, wow. Didn't know that Nightwing had a Year 1. that was so cool. Like, I think it's interesting. Like, I honestly think that every superhero should go on to have like a Year 1 kind of thing. Because I think it would be an interesting, like, kind of, like, take the time to give every single superhero like a Year 1 to kind of just flush them back out of the, like tell their complete origin. Nightwing issue number 118. This has the Statue of Liberty in it, and I thought that was interesting because I'm like, wait a minute, like, isn't Nightwing most of the time known for being in Bloodhaven? Nightwing, Year 1 later, issue 119. It was kind of interesting because we have like two different Nightwings here. So I thought that was just kind of interesting cover. Nightwing Year 1 later, issue number 120. We'd have Nightwing issue number 121. Don't know what's going on in this cover. Then we have Nightwing issue 122. Kind of more darker, edgier kind of Nightwing here. We have Nightwing guest starring Robin in The Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, number 6 of 7. This is issue number 139. Brother versus brother. So yeah, so Damian facing off against Nightwing. Yeah, that would probably be a big issue here. Nightwing number 146. This is to be a Burial at Sea. Kind of a unique visual cover here that just like, okay. This is some kind of just easy way to get me intrigued by a cover that has like water going on. Then, of course, they end up doing a possible, oh, hey guys, R.I.P. yet again. We have Batman R.I.P. and then it says Nightwing R.I.P. with question mark, and it says 148. So, of course, I need to get this book. Then we go on to have a Batman R.I.P. Nightwing number 149. And actually, there's a bunch of Batman's Rogues Gallery on this cover, so I absolutely had to get this. because Nightwing is behind the bat signal, and Joker's there, Scarecrow's there, Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy. Everybody's there that could be there of Batman's usual rogues gallery, so that was very interesting. We have Nightwing, Our World at War, A Time to Die. This is issue number 1 from 2001. So I obviously collected this because this is an issue number 1, so I felt that I had to collect this one. Then we have an annual of Nightwing, issue number 2, The Death, Till Death Do Us Part. And so, yeah, I had to collect this because Batgirl is on it, and I wanted a little bit something more with Batgirl on it, so I got this. So, all right. So, considering this is now 2 hours, and I'm sure because of the length of this one, like, if anything, honestly, like, just getting back into DC stuff, as well as also kind of blabbing on and on about things, as well as also just kind of really going on and taking too much time, but, like, I'm not going to go on and redo this video just because of how much I blabbed and how much I talked. I don't really care. Like, I'll just put this up and be like, well, okay, yeah, this is 2 hours, and it is what it is. So there's going to be in the future another one of these coming, more of DC books, and then I think after that I'm going to go back into doing more Marvel things. For those of you that were to go on and to have liked the Spider-Man one that I did, that eventually is coming. There's going to be another Spider-Man box that I have to just comb through. There is going to eventually be some X-Men stuff coming eventually. There's some Wolverine stuff coming eventually. There's going to be a lot of Marvel stuff to eventually come after I cover these things here. So that all is going to happen at some point. There's going to be a huge long box that eventually I will get into. I think I'm probably going to try as much as possible to just wait for that to be last. Just because of just how big it is, and also how I had gone on to do a long box before, and then I only did like half of it, and then I just waited a very long time to do the other half. So yeah, so with that said, like, I just think I probably am gonna do that one last. Plus also, the other kind of shorter box is a little bit more interesting. So it is what it is. So I'm going to get out of here so I can go on and have this uploaded, and then also probably do more of my movie physical media so I can cover that. So that'll be a kind of doubling up video. So with that said, goodbye everybody. Goodbye everybody.